Welcome to the Japji Sahib Podcast. In this final episode, we'll be going through what is called the Salok. Salok is a rhyming couplet where the Guru takes the entire wisdom that has been shared out of the recitation, the composition, which here was Japji, and then helps us to take all of that in a few verses and embed that wisdom deeper within us. And in this Salok, Guru Nanak is making us conscious of this mystical play of these elements that we are surrounded with in, and what this body is made out of as well. But even more importantly, Guru Nanak is getting us to contemplate time and how we are using that time. So as we start this journey of this Salok, you can start pondering as well about how you feel, how you think you are using time in your life. To get into that, let's go to our guest, Indra Kaur. WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh. So in the first line, Guru Nanak is saying, Pavan Guru Pani Pita Mata Tarat Mahat. This journey all begins, Guru starts us here in this line from Pavan, Pavan being air. But if we take a step even further back, then the Guru will say to us that Sache te Pavana Paya, that from that absolute, from that truth, the essence, that formless, that stillness, where everything first began from. So Satya here is that formless, the stillness. But within that formless, we often think that that must be something that's dead, or we might relate it to just this unawareness. But this is a stillness that has an aliveness to it. And it already has this magnificent intelligence within it, but it just hasn't manifested yet. It's just this singular point. There's no time. There's no space, nothing, there's no thing that exists. From that, the Guru says, Te Pavana Paya, then came the air. And this isn't now, we don't want to make it technical and get all scientific. It's not my strength anyway of the process and how it got from that, how it became different gases, the sounds, and then from those gases, how it then starts to become these different elements as we know them as the air. But our focus isn't that process. Our focus here is that from that such, from that absolute truth came at some point, however, and everyone can Google that anyway, Pavanapaya, then there's the air. But from there, then, Pavanate Jal hue. And then from that element, then there was water, the Guru is saying. And then from that water is Jalte Trepavan Sajya. And then these multitude of forms of life then are born, are come into being, which is how we are here as well. This human form, and that's the process that we've all gone through. So we are a part of that very first sound of when everything started. And now then coming back here to the Salok, this then helps us to bring it all together. That first, the Pavan Guru, the Guru here is that sound that came from that stillness. And that sound is what holds this information, this intelligence. And that Guru is that divine intelligence. So we're going to come back to that, because now we're going to, as we just briefly go through these, we're going to work backwards. So from that pure sound, from that intelligence, which is called the Guru, the word, then Pani Pita, like we've already mentioned, then came the water, which here is referred to as the Pita, the father. And again, we can look at how somebody would want to break that down, how that even biologically could make sense. But that's not our focus here. But from that then came Mata Tart Mahat as well. Then it's talking about then how came this earth, which is referred to as the Mata. So we're going to work now backwards. So let's just look at the qualities of this earth, of this soil where everything comes from, that nurtures us, that gives us that space, that opportunity to walk upon, allows us to walk on it self. And it's like a mother's lap. It's giving you space. This earth, this soil is like a mother's lap that we're getting to experience and walk upon and be a part of. That also brings so many other qualities. A little seed grows in that soil with the element of then, with the help of water from the Pita, and how everything comes together and it gives us that food to nurture this body which is again from these same elements. So there's a physical body, and then there's that one level where that physical body is taken care of. And a mother, nature, very naturally, when she gives birth to a child, is blessed with that nurturing food of milk. Bar bavasta tujhe pyare doodh. That milk which is pyara, the Guru uses the word pyara, which meaning sweet, is blessed to her. So that nurturing quality is naturally there for that mother. And as a mother, I'm sure you're going to relate to this way more than me, where there's a line by Guru Ram Das Ji who brings to light this experience, where Guru Ram Das Ji says that Jo Janani Sut Jan Palati. Just like a Janani is a beautiful word which comes from the word Janam, that one that gives birth. Just like that one that gives birth, Jo Janani Sut meaning son or child, Sut Jan Palati. Just like she is now taking care of her child, Rakhe Nadar Majar, and she's constantly keeping that child in her vision. So these are the qualities that we take from Mata Tart Mahat, that the Guru Nanak is bringing to our attention, how beautiful this womb or this lap of a mother, the divine mother of this earth is, the way she's giving us food, how food is growing, the trees, the different fruits that we take from it. We're putting so much back into that earth, as then the waste that we then remove out of our body from that same food that the mother's given us, we put in, and then we remove it. It's removed out of this body as waste, and then she again takes it back. She takes it back into her without ever complaining. The quality of that mother, the patience that mother holds, the divine earth mother. And then a mother that also gets to give birth experiences that. And just in case there's somebody sitting there thinking, well, I've not given birth, so it's not relatable. It's definitely relatable, because we've all come from a mother's womb. Sut jan palati rakhe nadar majar. just building the story for you before you get into your experiences of, taking care of these children, keeping them in your vision, and then what happens? Trying to feed that child, and the child jumps off their chair. So 1 minute they were antar, they were sitting inside, you were feeding them, and the next moment you think that they're meant to be sat there and they're going to sit there the whole meal time. They've only had like 2 burkiyan, 2 pieces of food yet, and they've run off bahar. Now they're outside. And where's the mother? Running outside as well. Mukh de grass, what's she doing? She's trying to put that food into the child's mouth. Mukh de grass. Grass means the piece of food. And then kin in each moment, bochar. Bochar is a beautiful word which comes from the word, do you know this word?
Like pochti?
Poch.
Yeah, poch.
So poch is when she's saying, constantly asking again, and she's saying, na, la, kala. And this patience, I know definitely from being a father, I don't really have it.
No, you don't have it.
Okay. So maybe you want to just talk a little bit about that quality and that experience being very, I'm sure, well, I don't even need to pretend to say, I'm sure that's real for you. Like, I've seen it. Of course it's real for you. So yeah, if you want to get into that.
I think if we're relating it to the tarti, then the tarti is a nurturer. You spoke a little bit about the fruits and the foods that's provided, but I think what's also really important to understand is that it's not just food, it's the oxygen that we breathe that even helps the food. So if you know anything about the way plants work, they don't just grow with the soil and water, they need oxygen and all these airs in order for them to thrive. And it's the same way that I think it's so many different elements with a child and a mum. So when you talk about that particular scenario, it's not just that the child needs to eat and the mom needs to do her job. It's internally you're being pulled by so many different emotions that you want your child to be nourished and well, and if they're not going to eat, then what's the knock-on effect on their emotions, on their sleep, on their weight gain, and so many different elements to it. But I have got experience that if I've, for example, given you a plate of food and I've said, make sure she eats all of that food, you're going to try for 5 minutes, maybe
10,
6. And then you're like, yeah, she's not interested. It's not going to happen. Whereas I will continue to try in so many different ways. I'll sing to her. I'll tell her stories. We'll watch something. We'll talk. And in between, I'm trying to, sneak some food in. And eventually, when she says I'm done, that means, okay, she's done. And then it's like, fine, we'll try next time. I'm getting better at that. But yes, it is patience in order to provide. And the other thing I've seen is that a mum generally, if she's eating and she can see that her children are hungry, most definitely she would rather feed her children and even go hungry herself. It's not important to feed ourselves. I don't know what that is about, but I've seen it from my mum, from your mum, from so many mothers, that they would rather feed their children and not see them go without.
But I think you, again, brought an amazing point forward that everything has come from that one singular point. Even these elements, they're all interlinked. They're all dependent on each other. The soil alone cannot produce anything without the water. The soil alone, still, things are not going to be able to function without having air. It's all one this play of this one, and everything is all so interlinked. So when you start talking about something like this, it's almost, well, this is everything. Where do you start from? Which angle do we take? Because this is so mystical. That's what the divine is. It's just, wow, look at this game that you're playing with, just these different elements that you've created. And we can try and look at the tarti, and yes, we can look at that earth and think, okay, these are some of the qualities that I can contemplate on, and that are also inside of this body and make up this body as well. And we see if I can tap into that. But really, where do you even start? And well, that's why something like this, if you just take a moment and just sit back and see how it all happens and plays out, just we're left in awe when you really think how this whole game works. And I was really just trying to look at and contemplate. We could break it down. We can say, okay, Pani Pita, the water, it's, why put these two words together? Again, we can try and look at everything from a scientific lens, or we could look at it from a different lens and think, all right, water is very adaptable. The water can get into so many different spaces and adapt to that shape and space. Water also can be quite refreshing, can help to cleanse this physical body, quench our thirst, and that's another quality. And that could be said to be a father-like quality as well, to see if we can be more water-like in our lives, to see how much we can tap into that, to be able to adapt into different types of scenarios and situations, and how we can also be that somebody that has that strength and provides, just like that water is providing us with so much. And we can look at this in so many different ways. Pavan Guru, this is the one that is probably speaking to me the most at this point of my life personally, is when things start to become more and more subtle. So we've got physical needs. This body has physical needs. There's survival. You need to keep this body alive. You eat, you do all of that. And then you could look at the water being, all right, something more subtle, where you're now more focused on your inner qualities. This could be looked at as this journey. But then a point comes where it's no longer just about what our physical needs. Yeah, it's something that's there, and you feed the body, you do all of that. And then, but no longer, you get to a point where no longer is it just about now physical survival. No longer is it now just about the mind and trying to gain more knowledge. A time comes where you start to seek a guru, because now you want to go deeper than just your physical body, just the elements. And you want to go deeper than just food. You want to go deeper than just what this mind is and the memory that it's holding. You start to seek for something more. You start to seek, where have I come from? What is this? Wow, this is so mystical. Like I said, the way the elements play, and you're thinking, who's doing all of that? Who's made that possible? Like, what is it? what am I really? What's my essence? When that starts to happen to you and you start to think, well, it can't be just, well, this body is not going to survive forever anyway, even if I eat well, even if I nourish it well, it's all great, amazing, I've lived an amazing, healthy life, but then body is still going to come to an end, still going to die, no matter how healthy I live, no matter how well I ate. It's not permanent. Doesn't matter how much knowledge I gained and I put into my mind and a great memory, I knew this, I can talk about that, great. But then what? What's beyond all of this? Does it just then come to an end when my body comes to an end? Am I more than that? And then you start to seek something way more subtle. Just like the pavan, just like air. The air we cannot see, but we can experience, we can feel it with the sense of touch. And we know it's there, obviously, that's because we know we're still alive, we're breathing, it's giving us oxygen. And when you start to seek something deeper, then you want to know, well, is there a soul? Is there something that doesn't ever come to an end? Then a guru appears to you in your life. And that guru is very subtle. Like the air, you may not be able to see that guru, but the guru appears to you as this pure divine intelligence that takes you back to your true home. And there's something inside of you that is saying to you, Manre nij kar vasa hoye. Hey, Manre, hey, my mind, nij kar. Is there a home within Nij, within me, deeper into this mind? If I go where I can be dwelling, that is my true dwelling, that is my true home. Have I forgotten who I truly am? I can't just be these elements. They're going to keep changing form. So then the Guru starts to appear in somebody's life. Just like Guru Ramdas ji say that, Kripa kare ta sat gur mil hai, har har naam Dhiaaeaa. That something inside of you then starts to seek. And in that Shabad, if we look at where Guru Ramdas ji is saying that, Darshan har dekhan ka tai. You start to think, you start to now say inside of you that I want to have darshan now. I want to know where this has come from. Because this is going to end up, and then that can't just be it. Can't just be it. You just come and that was amazing. Thank you for the food. Yeah. I stayed alive, and for how long? And then darshan har dekhan ke tai. What will happen is you will then go through a process of all you want is now to know this truth, this darshan. And then something inside of you, whether you know these words or not, or whether you know this is what you're looking for, something inside of you will start to say, Koi aan milave, mera pritam pyara. Is there someone that can come and unite me with my truth, my essence? What am I? Where is this all coming from? That koi aan milave. We can sing these lines, we can sing these shabads, go to the Gurdwara, you might hear the Ragis singing this, but when you start to say this, then you're singing it. When you're inside is saying, koi aan milave. Who? Mera Pritam Pyara. That true beloved, because I can, you start to feel something. Oh, there's something inside of all of this that is profound and so beautiful. I'll do now whatever it takes for me to meet that beloved. And then, Kripa kare ta Satgur mele. Then WhyGuru will say, you're ready. I'll send you. I'll start sending you now this wisdom that's going to help you to come back to me. And then the Guru will start appearing very subtly, like the air. And you now, because you've become a seeker, because now when somebody asks you that question now, like they asked Guru Nanak, Tera kavan Guru, jiska tu chela. Like, who's your Guru? And Guru Nanak said, Shabad Guru. My Guru is the Shabad. A Shabad, you can only hear a Shabad, you can only hear a sound or this voice, you can only hear something if it has air for it to travel through. And then you start to hear the Guru in different places. You hear the Guru through Gurbani, through Guru Granth. You hear Gurbani then through the hearts of those that are with that beloved. And you start to hear the Guru everywhere now, because your surti now, your consciousness has become a disciple to hear that Guru. And now you start to hear that Guru telling you how to come back home. And that Guru will also tell you what it means, how you can stay away from that divine presence. So the Guru will say, do you want to stay in your very separated life, which is separated from me, which is pure consciousness and pure light and pure love? And if you say yes, then the Guru will say, then I need you to carry on doing Nindya. I need you to continue gossiping, slandering, speaking negatively about others. I need you to continue holding on to resentment. That will keep you separated from me. How does that sound?
Lovely. Great.
And then you say, well, no. What can I do to come to you? Then you will start to hear that Guru speak to you. And the Guru will say, well, you need to clean up. Aap sawar hai, main mile. Then you'll get to be with me. You want to meet main? You want to meet me? The divine is saying to you, then clean up. There's no space then for resentment. There's no time. Have you got time? Have you got time?
No.
Because that's the next line. Because then that is what Guru Nanak goes on to say and says, well, Divas Raat, Doe, Dai, Daya. So there's Divas, there's the day, and then the Raat, then there's the night. Doe, both exist. Dai, Daya. We'll read out the translation that we did. The whole world plays in the lap of the babysitter called day and night. But what is that babysitter? What is that day and night? Just time. We're playing in the hands of time. And Guru Nanak is saying, how are you using day and night that you're playing in? This babysitter is saying to you, I want to take care of you. Use me wisely. Use me consciously. Can you hear time speaking to you? Can you hear time saying, how are you going to use me? Because we're playing in the hands of time. And then when you start to seek, the Guru will keep showing up for you through different bodies, through different ways, and will be saying, you're calling for me. Say, Aap Savare, clean up. Do you really is this how you really want to play within time? Holding on to something negative about somebody else? Or do you want to clean that up out of your life, and do you want to be with me? Aap Savare, main mile. And then you say, well, what am I going to get if I come to you? Main milaya, sukh hoye. You're going to experience sukh, peace, this profound peace, this stillness, this bliss, like nothing else. There's no piece of food, there's nothing else that can give you that. And you're thinking, okay, then let's do it. Let's go home. Let's go home. Changiaaeaa Buriaaeeaa Vacha Dharm Hadur. Because everything is happening at the watch of that divine presence, Hadur, in the presence of that divine, of divinity, of Dharam, where nothing is missed, everything is seen. You cannot say to God, why are you doing this to me? God will throw that straight back at you. Why are you doing that to you? Changiaaeaa Buriaaeeaa. There are things that you are doing, Changiaaeaa, which are drawing you back closer to that pure consciousness of love, where there is no separation, just divine. Then there are things you are doing, Buriaaeeaa, which are getting you further and further and further away from that divine. Karmee, Aapo, Aapnee. Ke neda, ke dur. So if you think of this singular point, this center singular point, which is pure love, pure consciousness, and then there's things that are now more and more dense, more and more further away, more separation. What are one of those things? One of those things are if you sit in constant state of guilt, of negative shame. Because where does that come from? That is you being resentful and bitter towards yourself. That's where those emotions come from. And that keeps you further away from that divine light. So now you are dur. It feels like something called God or divine or love doesn't even exist. And some people justify why they should stay in those states for longer because they have done such and such in the past. Some people will say, well, I haven't been waking up early enough to do my prayers, to do Bart. That's why I should be punishing myself by feeling bad and guilty. Why don't you just reword that and saying that's why I should keep myself away from God for longer then? Does that make sense? Why would you want to do that? ke nede, and some are close. And there's some qualities that where there is no separation, which come directly from love, from that pure consciousness of no separation. And those qualities are like what we spoke about, that a mother has, like those divine feminine qualities, or even that Pani Pita that the father holds of being there and wanting to provide, and from that place of compassion. Compassion is being close to that divine. Jinee Naam Dhiaaeaa ge masakkat kaal. And Guru Nanak is saying that Jinee Naam Dhiaaeaa, those that have remained completely immersed, Dhiaaeaa, just completely immersed on that divine name, living in a pure state of gratitude, being immersed in praising that divine, then ge masakkat, they leave this world after doing some serious masakkat kaal of doing the work. They did the work. Meaning they knew that they want to remain connected to WhyGuru, and they did whatever it took to remain in that connection. So, like what? I was reading this book the other night, and it spoke about relating it back to the previous body of the qualities that are mentioned in that previous body, where it speaks about the Jat Pahara Tiraj Sunyar Ehran Mat Ved Hathiyar Pau Khala. Spoke about fear in there, and it spoke about fear in a way that living in this constant fear that I don't want to break away from WhyGuru. So then they embrace certain things that from the outside look like dukh, from the outside look like pain, but actually inside of them is sukh, is bliss.
What would an example of that be?
So an example is, to you, dukh seems like, well, I want to stay up for longer because I need time to myself now. We've got a busy life. Now I just want to have some time out to relax. And then the dukh might be waking up early because it's difficult and don't want to wake up early to do whatever I need to do. But in that dukh of where you're thinking then, but I'm going to sacrifice my time, chill out time. So in one sense, you're looking at it as dukh, it's hard to get up. And that's the pain. Saying, but in that pain is hidden these beautiful fruits. Said, when you then decide, okay, let me go to sleep earlier today, right? So then it's a bit of you're uncomfortable, you're a bit of dukh because your mind is saying no, just chill out for a bit. You say okay, no. You wake up in the morning and you're saying, but I'm still tired, and then this is painful. Something beautiful this person said is, but on the other side of it, there's no sukh, there's no other beauty than when the rays of the sun first hit upon this earth. That feeling. The feeling of the morning birds singing. The feeling of the morning, the sun, the silence. Your even whole biological makeup at that time is more receptive to connect at a much deeper level back to that source. So in there is so much sukh hidden in what we might approach as some level of dukh or pain or uncomfortable feeling. And then the other way around, what we often see as sukh is actually dukh. What we often see is, this is nice, the pleasure is actually filled with
like food,
taking you away, disconnecting you further.
like somebody eating a lot of cake or sweet dishes.
If we just continued with the same example, even, you stay up, and a lot of the studies even show the type of quality in the deep sleep that you normally get around between 10:30 and, about whatever time in the morning, be it 2, 3, 4 a.m. And so that seems like sukh at that moment. This is nice. We're going to chill out. We're going to watch a film at night, and all of that. Hidden in there is your then opportunity to be more tired, to miss that magic in the morning that Farid ji talks about. Raat ko thuri vandi hai. There's a fragrance, this musk that can be experienced early hours of the morning. Raat ko thuri vandi hai, sutya mile na pao. Jina nain nindravale tina milan kavao. And where he talks about that you're going to miss out on this fragrance, this beauty, this play of this sun, the rise and the experience and the freshness. The freshness of morning, it doesn't quite come back later on in the day. Doesn't matter how hot of a country you live in, but that time in the morning is different. So really, there's, in that pleasure of that night is then pain hidden in it, and what you're going to miss out on, and what could have been instead. But there are those that Jinee Naam Dhiaaeaa, that pierced through that dukh, through what seemed like uncomfort, pain, and they got to the other side, which was this bliss. And because of their hard work, they did not miss out on the opportunity of how they played in the lapse of time. They soaked it all up. They chanted, they connected. And then because of them, Nanak, their Mukh Ujale, they were radiant. Radiant doesn't mean how somebody's face looks. Don't look out for, this person must be so divine because they have a shine. We don't know what they've used, in the morning. We don't know what products they're using, so don't fall for that one. Yeah. This is a different type of shine. This is their Mukha Ujale, their faces are radiant because of what they've connected to. They've connected to that pure source of love. When they've connected to that, whilst they're still in that field, whilst they're still in that connection, if you're receptive enough, if you're open enough, you just know, yeah, they're in that place, aren't they? They're in that place. And naturally then, they start to spill out. Their presence does, and get the many others, chutti, they help them to escape to, from the entanglements of the dense living of being in those negative spaces within themselves that are so dur, so far away, so much separation. The opposite to light, the density, the dark that they are living in. Chutti naal, they can't help it but to take others there as well. They're looking for them. They're seeking. Kidda? Auna hai? So this body is really about, it's you could, going back then, how do these people then live? What is their relationship like then to this play of elements, to Pavan Guru Pani Pita Mata Tart Mata? Now, when you're living in that place, what is their relationship like when you've now got a guru? When the Shabad starts to speak to you, everything then becomes divine for you. Even your breath, even the Pavan. As you take a breath, you use that as an opportunity to become conscious. Start to watch the breath and say WhyGuru's name. Everything becomes an opportunity now for you to go back home. Pani Pita. Your relationship with the elements changes. Your appreciation, your devotion towards it. You take that glass of water, and there's so much appreciation towards that water now. Wow. Every moment you take a sip, it's with this profound mystical experience of, wow, what are you? What are you going to be doing to this body is magical. How you're going to play your role within this body. How you're going to quench this thirst, keep this body alive, and it's just wow. Each moment, the way you are playing in the lapse of time now, even that moment to that element will be wow. Sit there and so much devotion towards it. The way you now look at the ocean, the way you now look at the role of these elements, when you bathe in the morning and it makes you feel fresh, it's cleansing, you're like, wow, look at you, how you're playing. And then it's Mata Tarta Mahata, you look at the earth and you see how things are growing out of it, and you're just in awe with her. Then you start to think how my relationship with you, your manifested form, everything changes. So that's the Salok.
It's very beautiful.
So the Salok is speaking to the seekers and allowing us to take a moment. How are we using time? How are our moments passing? Are they passing with being close or being far? Are more of the moments passing where we're in that density, separation? Or are they passing whilst we sit close? Hazara, Hazur, Darpesh, Tumani. The closeness of the presence of that divine. And then, if you realize you are living more of your time disconnected, there is only one way then. Then your inside will say, okay, so I need that connection, but what's the way? Har darshan ko man aas kaneri. And then you know, well, I need now darshan. The divine's system is perfect. So then the question is, I spoke to somebody yesterday and they said to me, yes, I'm feeling that disconnect. I said, well, have you done the next part? And they were like, what? That have you said, koi aisa sant moko prem lave? Koi hai? Is there somebody that can help me unite back then with my pir, with my beloved? He's like, oh, I skipped that part. I just stayed disconnected, but I realized I'm disconnected. And once you do that, where you say, koi aisa sant moko prem lave, and then it will start to happen. And then Jan Nanak ko har dars dikhaya. Then you'll start to have the darshan, the connection. And then Atma Jeen Param Sukh Paya. And you'll know, you'll recognize your Atma, your true essence, the spark, the light, the WhyGuru within you. Thank you, Sangat Ji, for listening, for being part of this journey. Use this system. And the Guru will come to you. The Sants will come to you. The Shabad will come to you and take you back home again and again. WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Please donate and help spread Guruji's message. Link is in the description below. WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh.